Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a 12-week conversation that's going to happen starting on Tuesday, April 7th, and I'm calling it Reimagining Rebellion, where I'm going to be exploring a simple but uncomfortable idea. And that idea is that most of us don't fully understand how our beliefs are shaping us, or how much those beliefs are being shaped in the first place. This isn't just personal, it's cultural, because what we believe doesn't stay contained within us. It shapes how we speak, how we relate, and how we build the world around us. And you can see this in simple ways. When a belief becomes part of someone's identity, disagreement can feel like a personal attack. So conversations stop being about understanding and start becoming about defending. And when groups of people share the same unexamined beliefs, those beliefs begin to feel like truth, reinforced by community, media, and repetition. And when enough people are operating from different, unquestioned assumptions, we don't just see things differently, we start living in entirely different versions of reality. And when that happens, something else begins to shift. You see, we're living in a time where people feel more certain they are right than ever, and we are more divided than ever. Conversations quickly turn into positions, and positions turn into identities. And somewhere in the middle of all that, something gets lost. Our ability to actually see clearly and connect authentically. And this isn't a political project, but it would be dishonest to ignore how deeply politics and belief now shape each other. Not just in what we think, but in how we relate, react, and understand the world around us. What I'm interested in is something deeper than opinion. I want to know, how do beliefs form? How do they become invisible? And what becomes possible when we begin to examine them more closely? This is the foundation of a book I'm releasing on July 14th. Reimagining Rebellion, a new mythos for being human in a world gone wild. And it builds on my previous work, Rewilding Your Soul, a rebel's guide to being human in a world gone wild. And it also introduces something I'm calling the Rebel's Walk. And that's not a set of answers, but a way of seeing and relating that allows something different to emerge. Over the next 12 weeks, I'll be sharing a series of short reflections and longer conversations, not to convince you of anything, but to invite you into something. A deeper look at what you believe, to question how those beliefs came to be, and what might shift if you stayed with that question a little longer. And this is not easy work. In fact, it may be some of the most difficult work we can do, because it asks us to look at things we've rarely questioned and to stay with them without immediately judging or resolving them. Part of what I'll be doing in this series is helping guide that process, not by giving answers, but by creating space to move from judgment to simply noticing. Because one of the deepest beliefs that many of us have inherited is that we are our beliefs. And if that's true, then questioning them doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels like we're questioning ourselves. And we're going to move through this slowly. We'll start with a simple question. Why examine what we believe at all? Because for most people, what they believe feels obvious, natural, and even true. And then we'll look at something just as important. Why we tend not to question it. Not because we're unwilling, but because there are very real psychological and social forces that make this difficult. And then we'll begin to explore what happens when those beliefs start to loosen. Because that's where this work becomes real, not abstract and not philosophical, but lived. And it doesn't always feel the way people expect, but we'll take it one step at a time. I look forward to seeing you there.